So we're gonna make quick spätzle. This is actually a really fun recipe to do at home. I'm gonna start with the sauce. Again, very simple sauce. I've got some chopped onions in here. I'm gonna put it into a pan. It's about like one small onion, roughly chopped, but a medium-high heat on the pan. I'm gonna add a pinch of salt. And we're gonna let that sort of cook down for 2-3 minutes. And then we're gonna add caraway seed. Now caraway seed is used a lot in sort of those dark rye breads or those dark breads. It's used a lot in Austrian cooking, Swiss cooking, German cooking. It's got a really, really nice flavor. You don't have to add this. You can add really whatever you want, but I think and I'm just adding it whole. They'll sort of pop a little bit. They have a really nice aroma once it hits the hot pan. We don't even need this. We can take it out of the way. And then we're going to add some green cabbage. This is, again,
a traditional German vegetable.
Yeah, and one of those vegetables that seems to get bigger in the fridge and it never goes away. So it's great to find recipes to use it all up.
Ways to use it up that aren't cabbage soup, right?
Yes. So I'm just going to roughly chop up this cabbage, and you can use red cabbage as well. You can use kale, Brussels sprouts.
Any of your cruciferous vegetables, which are great natural detoxifiers. So supporting your body and your natural way of fighting off infection and disease.
So we'll just roughly chop it up. And we're going to put that in there. The rest here. And last ingredient, an apple. This, again, goes really, really well with the cabbage and the onion. You add a little bit of sweetness to it. And I mean, add your favorite apple. This is a Crispin from, it's actually from Chudley's. Does anyone know Chudley's?
I used to love that place as a kid.
It was cool to find at the grocery store. It had the Chudley's sticker on it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll give that a try. So just, again, roughly chop it up. It's sort of the last thing that goes in. The apple, you like a little bit of texture to it, but it's okay if it cooks down. And I'm making just a smaller portion here, so I'm just going to use probably half the apple. Done. And then, so I mean, give it some time to cook. Maybe like 5 minutes, like just so it starts to wilt, so you get a little bit of color. And then we're going to add a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. And this is going to sort of give it that almost kraut sort of feel to it. It's going to give a little bit of that acidity, a little bit of that zing.
It's like you're making sauerkraut.
Yeah, exactly.
Without the bacteria.
Yeah, about after 5 minutes, get a little bit of color, and then I'm going to put that in, and then right away, I'm going to trap it. I want the steam inside, lid on top. I'll turn it down to medium, just so it's not going crazy. And that'll take about, another 5 minutes, just until it wilts. It's a really, really sort of quick salad, or quick sauce.
Yum.
And while the sauce is sort of simmering, doing its thing,
we're going to be making our pasta.
We're going to make our spätzle. So, we're using, like I said, we're using rye flour. You can use any sort of whole grain flour in this. Mm-hmm. The liquid to dry ingredients in this recipe is good for a whole grain flour. I tested it out just because whole grain flours tend to absorb a little bit more liquid. So if you do use, an unbleached white flour, if that's all you have, just add a little less liquid. So we've got 1 cup of flour, 2 eggs. I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of milk, but that's just more because it makes it a little lighter. You can even add water to this if you don't want the dairy in there. We're gonna add some chives, just because I like chives. You can add any herbs in there.
I like your reasoning. Why not?
As long as I don't say the C word, then
no cilantro today.
then we're okay. Mustard. This is a mustard spätzle, so we're gonna put mustard. If you don't like mustard, you don't have to add it. But I like a
We're doing a really grainy
whole
Dijon
grain
here.
mustard, and I'm adding, a good couple scoops.
Would it be just as good if you didn't flavor it with the mustard, or would you put like another herb or
Absolutely.
spice?
I mean, it's a beautiful, you're making your own sort of dumpling, so you can add whatever flavors you want. If you don't like mustard, maybe you like a little curry powder, or maybe you like a little smoked paprika, or maybe just plain. Maybe a little bit of orange zest,
Oh,
or lemon zest or something.
yeah.
The grainy mustard gives it a really cool look because of all those mustard seeds in there. And so what you're looking for is kind of stir it up. This is going to be pretty wet dough. So it's not like a traditional pasta dough, which would be pretty firm. This is a dumpling dough that'll be kind of like in the mix between pancake and like a pasta dough. So this is exactly what we're looking for. So see how it's thick, but it slides off of the spoon. And then that's it, that's done. That's ready to go into our boiling water to cook. Now, we tested a few different ways to cook this. I consulted all the old Austrian cookbooks. And I'll show you a few, and I'll show you my favorite, because it is kind of fun, and it is pretty easy to cook. So one of the first ones is to use a strainer or a sieve with holes in it. And what you would do is put it over the water, like this. I'll get you guys to catch up. There we go. And I'm gonna pour a scoop of the dough in there, and then use a spatula to press it through the holes. And this takes like a minute to cook.
So what you're doing is it's almost like you have a cookie cutter and you're pushing the dough through it, or a pasta maker, right?
Exactly.
So you're creating these little dumplings or these little almost rice pellets that are going to be coming through and cooking in the water.
That's the better way. I was thinking of a Play-Doh Funhouse.
Yeah, I had that when I was a kid too.
It's probably not the best thing.
Push the Play-Doh through.
And so you would do a little bit at a time, and you see you get these little shapes, and they come through. I just find it's pretty easy. I just found it a little messy, but that's pretty much it. And then you get these little tiny spetzels, kind of like this.
Spend time hand rolling them or
Yeah.
anything like that.
And that's what spetzel is. They're kind of like these little odds and ends, these little shapes. That's one way. It's a little messy.
Not your favorite?
Not my favorite. If you want bigger ones, yeah, you can drop them in. So there's another one, you can put it on a plate. We're gonna add just a little bit of water to the top, just so it slides a little easier. And then you would use like a little butter knife and just cut off little dumpling sized chunks. And it's a little faster. It's easier to clean a plate
I love that.
than it is, and you get larger ones. And I like the larger dumplings. So you can do that a few times until all the dough is done.
You don't have to get your hands sticky, which is nice.
The funnest way, though, is if you have
Get
One of
this
these
cool
guys.
tool.
this is a potato ricer. Some people might have this.
Have you guys seen this
to make
before?
mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is playing in the kitchen. This is where it gets really fun. And so you get, again, a nice big,
This reminds me of Play-Doh.
yeah, piece. And like I said, if you're not having fun in the kitchen, then there's no point. Well, there is a point, but.
Why not have fun?
And yeah, probably won't taste as good. And so this will come out like,
That is so much easier.
right? And you get these cool, like longer strands.
So is there a perfect spetzel shape that we're looking for, or does it need to be perfect?
Oh, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's really like these irregular shapes. I think that's the point of spetzels. It's kind of odds and ends. Really, really fun. And they're pretty much done as soon as they start floating. Because they're so small, they float almost immediately. So I would give it maybe just a minute. Those are done. And usually you can add it to like just some brown butter. That's sort of the traditional. It's a nice little side. But I like it with the cabbage and the apple. It makes it a little bit more of a heartier dish, right? So we're gonna add this right into the sauce. Really nice texture, really nice flavor. The mustard goes really well with the other ingredients. And Kirsty said, if you wanted a complete meal, you can serve this with a nice piece of chicken.
Yeah, so you're not getting too much protein here, so you'd want to serve it with something on the side. A piece of chicken, fish, if you're a vegetarian, some beans or lentils in your pasta sauce would be really nice. It smells good.
Yeah,
Good. That's a good thing. It starts with the smells, the appetite. And we eat with our eyes as well, so creating a beautiful dish is very important.
Smell tastes good.
Yeah, that's right.
It might look good, but it might taste kind.
True.
Taste precedes everything.
is
That's the
king.
most important thing.
That's true.
That's it. So cabbage, apple, a little bit of the onion, some of those Spätzle dumplings.
A warm Austrian meal.
That's it. And there we go. There's our homemade dumpling.